This is going to be what if Deku gained Haki abilities. Before I start this, I do want to say Deku will be the only character to have Haki. No one else in the verse will have it. Only Deku. Let's get it started then. From the main storyline, nothing will really change during Deku's childhood. He's still quirkless. Bakio still gets an ego boost. He starts bullying all the other kids in his kindergarten class, preschool class, whatever class it is, the age of 4. So we want time skip a year after. Everything with Deku is the same. His mom gets suppressed. Things won't change when Deku witnessed Bakio bullying another kid, to the point that he started using his small explosions against the kid and actually hurt him with first degree burns on his arms and his chest. Deku, upon witnessing the scene, would think of All Might. He would want to save that little kid. So immediately he jumps in between Bakio and the victim, and would tell Bakio to stop. Stop bullying the kid. You're hurting him. You're hurting the kid. This is villain behavior. Bakio, hearing that he's being compared to a villain, will absolutely lose it against Deku. Bakio will start to shout, "Who are you calling a villain? I'm gonna be the next greatest here like All Might. Even better than All Might. You're nothing but a quirkless dork. Who are you calling a villain?" Deku will start to freeze up. Bakio, hearing that, will respond, "Are you trying to challenge me right now?" Then Bakio would just beat on Deku. And the kid that was there would just run away. Deku would start to plead to Bakio to stop hurting him, but Bakio was still continuing, even using exploding against Deku. After a minute of Bakio's assault on Deku, he would just lay on the ground barely unconscious with scrapes, burns, and a little bit of a scratch on his forehead that's leaking a little bit blood. Tsubasa, Bakio's lackey, the one with the wings, would speak up. "Hey Bakio, I think you're going too far. He's bleeding quite a bit." Bakio would snap back in anger. "You don't know anything. He called me a villain. I am not no villain. I'm the next greatest hero. I'm gonna be better than All Might." Deku would lay on the ground, barely conscious. He would just think to himself, how could this have happened? What went wrong? Why would Bakio do this? He just thought Bakio was a real villain. This made no sense to him. But with that imagination, why would Bakio be a hero? He doesn't act like a hero. He's more of a villain. So why would he have the right to be a hero? No. No, it would not work with that. He will stop him from acting like that to other people. Now his mind switched to All Might. He's imagining All Might in that video saving the civilians from the fires. And all he imagines, "I just want to be just like you. I just want the power to be just like All Might, the greatest hero." Now a wave of fear will run through the group. From Deku's body. Deku friends will immediately fall to the ground unconscious, but Bakio will stand there, filled with fear. He never felt anything like that before. Bakio can't explain the fear, but he knows one thing. It's coming from Deku. He doesn't know how, why, or what is happening, but he feels the intensity of that fear coming from Deku. He can feel it in his soul, in his body. His body is trembling right now. And little does he know, he wet himself. After a few minutes, Deku will stand up, seeing the group unconscious on the floor, would just freak out and just run away. Upon arriving home, Inko would spot Deku coming in, and she starts to freak out upon seeing his injuries. After half an hour of lying to his mom, because he's still a little bit scared of Bakio, but he doesn't want to get in trouble, because he still has that fear of Bakio still coming after him. So he just went in his room and laid on his bed, thinking to himself. So after a few minutes, he would just declare that Bakio is his enemy. Not to beat him or fight him or anything like that, but protecting his classmates from Bakio to prevent them to getting hurt. So after that day, Deku would start to intervene with Bakio bullying on other kids. Each time he starts, Deku would jump in, intervening with Bakio's bullying, and just fight him nonstop, brawling with them, fist fighting, everything. Jumping to the middle school years, Deku will become an athlete, playing sports like baseball, soccer. He gets stronger each time he fights Bakio. He is extremely strong. like immense, like grip strength and everything like that. Bakio is like really annoyed with Deku this time, like more than usual, because each time he tries to pick on someone, he jumps in and start like punching him in his face. And Bakio would have to like use explosions against him. Deku is really resistant to his explosions. Starting this off, it will be this beginning of their last year of middle school, starting with their applications to UA. And the teacher would, of course, announce that Bakio standing up, declaring that he will be the only person going to UA and become the #1 hero. Hey, Izuku Midori, you still want to go to UA, right? Bakio turned to Deku immediately with fear in his eyes. We yell at him, "Why are you going UA?" Deku will turn to Bakio. In that exact moment, he will feel that same rush of fear that he felt during his childhood. Then Bakio will sit down, feeling embarrassed. The class will start to rant to each other, wondering, can Izuku actually pass the entrance exam for UA? The class will have to start to debate because they've seen Deku and Bakio fight multiple times, and Deku have outclassed Bakio in physical abilities. But yet he's still quirkless. And for UA, like you need a quirk to pass through UA. But all that would not matter because Deku would just ignore everyone. But Bakio would just declare that he will still win anyways, and he will still pass through UA. It doesn't matter. The bell will ring and the class would just leave. But Bakio and Deku stay behind. Bakio's challenging Deku to a 1v1. Bakio will yell at Deku saying, "This time you won't win. You surprised me the other times, but this time I'm ready for your little punches and kicks." While Bakio was such a rant, Deku would just stop him and say, "I will only fight you on one condition. If I win, you will stop bullying anyone. Don't even threaten them. Don't even punch them. Don't even make physical contact with them. And if you win, I won't even look at you. I won't bother you for the rest of the year." Dale! Immediately in the empty classroom, Bakio would run at Deku, throwing a left hook towards him following with an explosion in his hand. But Deku would counter Bakio's attack, catching his fist, using his right hand to grab onto Bakio's forearm, lifting him up off the ground, turning around and throwing him over his own head, slamming him straight into the ground. Bakio slamming into the ground, looking in the ceiling, not prepared for that counter at all, immediately gasping for air. "Are you dumb, Bakio? This is embarrassing, even for you." Bakio standing at the ceiling, quickly recovering from getting the wind knocked out of him. "I'm gonna kill you!" Standing up and throwing an explosion covering Deku's entire upper body. Deku would just tank that, with barely any damage to his body except for his clothes, which would start to burn off. But Baku would not stop there. He would create multiple explosions against Deku's body. After a few moments, Deku would actually start to see Bakio's movements clearly. He can't explain it, but he can see through the smoke. He can see Bakio through the smoke, and immediately Deku will reach out, grab Bakio's neck, and throw him across the classroom. Bakio will crash through rows of desks. "Is that all you got, Deku?" Deku would clench his hand into a ball and crouch down. Deku will start to feel a strange feeling in his hand, like armor being covered against his hand, like it's made from metal. Bakio running at Deku would immediately stop, and Deku's fist would crush against Bakio's face, sending him back into a wall. Bakio's nose would immediately start to bleed, with a few teeth being knocked out, landing on the ground. That was the final blow. Deku is the winner. Deku would stand upright, looking at his fist, wondering what that feeling was. But Deku cannot think about this for too long, because he doesn't want to be caught and be expelled from school. So Deku would just immediately leave, walking down through the hallways, wondering what that feeling was. I want to get that feeling again. It felt like his hand was just solid steel, unbreakable. If he masters that feeling, he might actually pass through the entrance exam and might actually help him through his UA career. But using it against a human might be too much, because like he might have done a little bit too much against Bakio. So he has to look for a place to train it, so he won't like hurt people when he's trying to, gain that feeling again. So he pull up his phone, start scrolling through the locations. Then he found the beach with the trash all over it, and immediately he thinks it's perfect because he can use his graph to punch through the metals and all that. He can train it. He can train its strength and everything. It will also help the environment for the other people too. They can actually visit there and have fun instead of dumping trash everywhere. Starting to get impressed by the amount of trash that's all over the sand. So Deku will start to take off his school jacket, immediately starting to warm up, preparing to train already. Izuku would immediately go to an old refrigerator, pushing it through the sand and feeling the weight behind it. To Bakugo's point of view, he'd walk home alone, face bloodied, with tears filling his eyes, his ego completely shattered. He thought to himself, why Deku? He's quirkless. How did he win? Again, with a brutal knockout. Turning the corner into an alleyway, finding himself alone, he would get attacked by the sludge villain. Unlike the canon events, the sludge villain went to another direction, so Bakugo would get captured by the sludge villain. 2 hours later, back towards Deku's point of view, he would continue training, sweating, and his fists bloody from punching a giant piece of metal in the sand. After that training session is over, he would grab multiple shards of metal, throw them straight up in the air, letting him fall down upon himself. Deku knows he can't rely all on strength. He needs to practice his speed, his reaction, everything. If he wants to save people, he has to be quick. He has to be fast, compared to all the other quirk people that can just do it by nature. So he would train his reaction time as well as his physical strength. Back to Bakugo's point of view, the sludge villain would take full control over Bakugo's body, causing chaos through the streets. The heroes would try to stop him, but they would fail, so instead they would try to evacuate the area the best they could. A crowd would form, and Bakugo and the sludge villain would start to go unconscious in and out, his vision starting to blur up, before gaining the strength to use his explosion against his own body, using the force of the explosion to blow away the mud substance away from his upper body and mouth, breathing in and leaning out of the sludge villain, reaching out towards the heroes, feeling a heavy impact, blowing his body out of the sludge villain and being grabbed by a giant man, All Might. To the next scene, Bakugo will get treated by the medics on scene. Fortunately, one of the medics on scene will have a healing quirk and he would heal Bakugo, regaining his missing teeth. While deep in thought, Bakugo can't stop thinking about the 2 big losses from today. He lost 2 fights in a row, and he got destroyed in both of them. He couldn't do nothing about it. His ego is shattered to dust. Maybe I'm not fit to be a hero, Bakugo thought. All Might will speak up. You're one brave kid, you know that? Looking up at All Might, realizing that the #1 hero is in front of him right now, and is speaking to him. You're really in front of me, aren't you? Yes, I am in front of you, young man. Bakugo would revisit one of his childhood memories. A memory of Deku calling Bakugo a villain. That sentence would repeat over and over, and Bakugo said before speaking up to All Might. Can a villain be forgiven? If so, can they become a hero? It depends on the criminal. I've seen criminals done unforgivable acts, but some criminals steal just to get by. Some criminals suffer the consequences, but are still unforgiven. Instead of paying to protect the lives of the innocent, then yes. If the villain truly changed from the inside, then yes. Then I'll become a hero and become better than you, All Might. I'll save 1,000,000 more people than you. Steam will rise up from All Might's body. Crap, I reached my limit. Well, that's good to hear. I'm off now. Goodbye, young man. Quickly, All Might will sprint off, leaving a trail of smoke. Bakugo was standing there awkwardly, wondering what was up with All Might. Why did he just run like that? Not paying too much attention to it, he just walk off after getting released by the medics. 20 minutes later, Bakugo will walk through the streets, stopping right outside an alleyway, noticing a giant man resembling All Might. But Bakugo can only see the silhouette of this giant man, so he slowly approached behind the dumpster, hiding behind it, and he will see the giant silhouette shrinking down. And he will walk out saying, All Might, is that you? The skinny small man would actually start to stutter upon his words. No, 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 I'm not All Might. Bakugo could see the man's clothes. It is the exact same clothes that All Might was wearing. He is not no fool. Hey, All Might, are you some type of fraud? All Might would try to speak back, but he would spit out blood instead. There's no change in his mind. He'd already caught me. Fine, you caught me. I am All Might. So at that point, All Might knew he was caught red-handed. So at that point, it was no use. So All Might would explain to Bakugo his injuries, how it loses his power, make him weak at certain points. If he uses it too long, he would get drained. How it kind of drained his power over time for these past few years, maybe a decade. I forgot the timeline of that. So Bakugo would start asking more questions for All Might about his injuries. The topic would change towards Bakugo's life. Bakugo would start to explain his moral dilemma to All Might. After being slammed during his fights, if he's even fit to be a hero, even though he can't win a fight. All Might hearing Bakuyo's rant, he would start to realize that he does not have any sense of direction in his life at all. Like, he could tell he really wants to be a hero, but he doesn't know what type of hero he wants to be. Is he a hero for the people, or is he doing it for the money, for the fame? So this is gonna be the point where All Might actually wants to mentor the boy. Because like he has no sense of direction, but he has that powerful quirk, and he seems like he actually want to make an effect on the world for the better. So this is gonna be where we leave off the scene into the time skip towards the entrance exam. Bakugo would take Deku's spot as the successor of All Might, so he would get one for all like pretty early on, not like super early, probably like towards the 8 months, maybe 9 months of the training. Bakugo does have a grasp of all one for all, but not like full cow type of grasp. Like he knows how to use it. So we're just going to skip right to the day of the UA entrance exam. During the time, Bakugo and Deku wouldn't interact at all. They would stay far away from each other. So we're just going to skip right to the day of the UA entrance exam. During the time, Bakugo and Deku wouldn't interact at all. They would stay far away from each other. So we're just going to skip right to the day of the UA entrance exam. During the time, Bakugo and Deku wouldn't interact at all. They would stay far away from each other. By the way, Deku's body build is like Baki's. He's a slim waist, but like a wide shoulders, big upper body. But before I start the entrance exam, I do have to say that Deku can see the black coating from Armament, but no one else can. Only Deku can see it. He tried to show his mom like his Armament Haki, but she can't see the coating or nothing like that. So that's how he figured out that no one else can see it. Alright, let's just get right into it because this take too long. I'm gonna be honest. Alright, so Deku does travel to the UA testing exam part. This time he doesn't trip over like the original because like he's not really nervous. Like he knows he can pass it. He's been studying, he's been training. He feels prepared, so he's not nervous at all. So he doesn't meet Uraraka like at that moment at the testing entrance place. So just like the original timeline, President Mike would explain the rules and all that. Ito would stand up saying, "Hey, this is super unprofessional. Where is the 0 pointer? And what does it do?" President Mike would just explain the 0 pointer. President Mike will hand out the written exam, and Deku would do like above average, like at least top 10 of scores. So after that's done, Deku would head to the mock city, the same thing as the original. With his observation, Deku would feel someone's like very, very nervous. And it would be Uraraka, of course, walking up to her, trying to comfort her, introducing himself. And of course, Ito will step in and be like, why are you bothering her? Blah, blah, blah. Why are you distracting her from the exam? How dare you? So Deku would walk away because he doesn't want to make a scene. Not the exam. He needs to focus on his own, portion of it. So he would, just say good luck to Uraraka and just walk away. Suddenly, President Mike would announce, "Heroes doesn't wait for a timer. Go, go, go!" The doors to the city will open up. Deku would run out beside Ito. We're using his engine quirk. And Ito would look at him, but like, "You have a speed quirk?" Deku's like, shake his head, "No, I'm just really fast. I used to run in track back in junior high." Ito would reply, "So you're challenging me, right?" Using his engine boost to lead Deku in the dust. Deku's fast, but he can't keep up with Ito's full-on engine quirk. Deku would smile, using the observation Haki, thinking to himself, "I don't need to be fast, I just need to know where the robots are." Then dashing through an alleyway into like a whole separate street, using his Armament Haki to cover his forearms and fists, he started to punch through robots, tearing them to scraps of piece of metal, using the armor plating from the robots and throwing them against another robot, destroying it completely. So instead of falling behind like Deku did in the original timeline, instead he's actually doing really good. From Deku's observation Haki, he will sense that a girl is in trouble. He would run towards that direction. Seeing Uraraka being trapped under a pile of rubble, he would of course run over to help her, using his armament to throw off the rubble and easily carrying her away, feeling a rumble in the distance. He would see a lot of people just start running away from it, and seeing a 0 pointer in the distance, he'd think to himself, will destroying the 0 pointer will do more good than harm, or more harm than good? Outweighing the options, he come to the conclusion that if more people did get hurt, like trapped in the rubble, just like Uraraka, he can't save all of them. So it's better just to destroy the 0 pointer right now. So Deku would start to think, how could he destroy this giant 0 pointer without like taking like his whole entire arm out? Because if he punched it too hard, it might actually like hurt himself by accident. So he never like tested his limits that far in and against this giant metal beast. So Deku wouldn't actually aim for the head. This time, he would actually aim for the giant wheels that's like moving itself slowly through the city. So Deku would run, sprint straight through it, punching through the wheels, making sure it cannot move anymore. And then he would start taking out chunks, tearing out wires, tearing out pieces of metal, chunks, everything like that, until it's off balance and the 0 pointer would actually start to tip over into a building, crashing down, creating a giant, like, not earthquake, but like vibration throughout the entire area, leaving a giant cloud of smoke. Meanwhile, in the camera room, Ozawa, Nezu, and President Mike would be watching and be really impressed about Deku's performance. He's not only just, completing this for himself, but he actually is helping other people and rescuing other people. Like, that is a heart of a true hero right there. Meanwhile, President Mike and Nezu would actually glaze Deku, as I would chime in and say, that's kind of reckless. What if someone was inside them buildings or near them to get hurt? That's very reckless of that kid. He shouldn't have done that. Now, knowing Deku has observation haki, he could tell that no one was near in the area for him to drop down that 0 pointer on his side and destroying it. 2 minutes later, President Mike would announce it's over, time's over, everyone stop, and we'll come back to the gate. When exiting the building, everyone that Deku helped would actually come and thank him, because they actually really helped. They might actually have a good chance of actually being accepted now. A few hours later, Deku would arrive home, telling his mom, yeah, he passed the entrance exam, no problem, like no sweat. He's getting it no matter what, he knows. So to congratulate him, the two will go out to eat to a nice restaurant, good food, everything like that. So after like 2 weeks, I think it's 2 weeks, something like that. Whenever he gets his letter, he gets in. Like, come on now, he gets in. He is ranked number 2 at the robots, like showing robots aspects, but he is the top like ranking of rescue points. Now I will do a time skip to the first day of UA. He gets his uniform. He looks amazing. He's happy of himself. His mom's happy. Everyone's happy. At this point, Deku right now, his level, he's like around 5% full cow of in terms of his physical like abilities right now. Like, he is crazy. He is like superhuman right now. By the way, I'm sorry if I like skipped through like a lot of dialogue and all that. Bro, these videos taking me so long to edit. It's taking me like 3 straight days. So I'm like skipping a lot of stuff into the most important things. Deku arrives to the UA gates. He is smiling. He's like, oh my god, I'm actually here. It's that time. It's my time to shine. And he's starting to walk through the hallways. You looking at the map on his phone or something of the school. And he's like, man, I'm gonna have such a good day. I hope my classmates are nice and all that. He opens the door and he sees Bakugo. He's like, oh my lord. And he's yelling at Ida, it is highly disrespectful to put your feet on the desk. You know how much time and energy that the workers building this desk has to spend in time? Who cares? Uraraka walking up to Deku would say, hey, Brackley boy, you're the one that helped me, right? Deku staring at her like, what? What did you just call me? Green hair. That's how I remembered you. You rescued me, right? Alright, you're the one that I rescued under the rubble. How did you even get yourself into that situation? Yeah, it was kind of embarrassing. I was kind of using my quirk and I accidentally deactivated it and it fell on me. I'm Uraraka, by the way. I'm Izuki Midoriya. Zawa standing up from his sleeping bag will tell every student to stop talking and get your gym uniforms and start changing the locker room, meet them on the field. Shouldn't we introduce ourselves first? It's useless. We have such a short time before you guys become heroes. There's no point of introducing yourself. The classroom, without question, will do what Zawa says and go to the locker room. While in the locker room, Kirishima will compliment Deku's body. He's well fit, and he sees the damage on his knuckles. Say, yo, what type of training you be doing, dude? Deku would just look at Kirishima and was like, the punching kind, I guess. That's totally manly. Well, if you ever want to train together, hit me up. I'm Kirishima. Yeah, my name is Izuku Midoriya. So Kaminari would chime in, saying, you must have an intense quirk for you to punch that hard. Like, you're just abusing yourself, dude. I can see the bruises on your hands. Deku would just smile and said, well, actually, I don't even have a quirk. I'm quirkless. Everyone in the locker room will just gasp, like, what? No way. We saw you destroy them robots. Bakugo, other side of the locker room, will like wonder to himself, what? How? This guy's quirkless. What? If you're quirkless, then I'm All Might. Come on, man. What's your secret? Deku would actually get fed up by the Durants bashing towards him. He was just like, well, unlike you guys, I actually train, I actually work out, I actually do all these things to actually increase my power. Unlike just focusing on my quirk, you know? Like I'm not relying on a quirk. I'm just doing it by my own hands. Bakugo would actually follow up on that, saying, "Hey, it's true. He is quirkless." Deku in his mind's like, "Is this the same Bakugo from junior high? He's actually supporting me. Like what? Like who is this guy? I'm confused." After a few minutes, the class will go meet Izawa at the field and wondering what's going to happen next. Izawa would explain what would happen with this quirk apprehension test. He wants to measure how far you guys are going to go with your quirks. Then Izawa will call up the number one on the test, Izuku Midoriya. Yes, he wasn't number one at the robots part, but he was number one overall. Deku would walk up beside Izawa. He would hand him a ball and say, "Throw it with your quirk." Deku would stare at Izawa, saying he doesn't have a quirk. Izawa would respond, just throw it anyways, as hard as you can, as far. Izuku would just nod, like, "I got you." Imbuing his right arm in Armament Haki, he will get in a pitcher position and just chuck it through the air. It would shot across the air, making around, let's say, 850 meters. The whole class will kind of gasp, like, this guy is not quirkless. He has some type of strength quirk, like All Might or something like that. Zawa with his hair falling back down after trying to deactivate Izuku's quirk, but he doesn't have any. So Zawa will think to himself, he might have a mutation quirk, or he's actually quirkless, and he's just naturally this strong. Deku can feel what Izawa is kind of thinking, his like feeling, his emotion right now. He would turn to him and was like, "I know you're suspicious of me, so let's cut the crap. I am actually quirkless." Izawa smiling at the response, said, "Okay, next. By the way, if whoever's in last place will get expelled, because all of you need to learn that maybe one of you aren't fit to be a hero, and I'm gonna prove that today." The class would be in shock, but have like no choice to do it. He don't want to get expelled. Izuku and Momo knows what Izawa's doing, so he's like, okay, I don't know what your game is. I understand it, and I'm gonna play it. Baku will go up next, and he would throw it with following an explosion, getting around 1,000 meters. And he would turn to Deku and say, like, "Ha! I did better than you." So the rest of the class would do their thing, do the exact same thing, the exact same measurements. So the exam would go basically the same thing, but Bakugo and Deku would get way better scores. The 50-meter dash, Deku would get like above average, below Ida, and below Bakugo. But he'd be like in the top 5. In the grip strength test, Deku would dominate. He would go number 1. He would get like above all of like everyone by 5 times with his Armament Haki. It is like no joke of how strong he is. Sailing long jump, he would get like above average. Like he did alright, I guess. But by the end of this, Mineta would be at the bottom score. I don't know how. I don't know how the Invisible Girl doesn't have that bottom score. She's normal but invisible. Like the original, no one would get expelled. They were like, "I'm just messing around. I'm joking. I'm joking." Momo and Deku will be like, "You guys didn't know that?" And the rest of the day will go pretty normal, except for Deku and Bakugo. They will not interact at all, which is very strange. Deku would probably think that he'll be loud, but he's a lot more calm. To the next arc. The battle trial arcs, everything will go pretty normal. Deku almost forgets the costume, but his mom made it for him, if I remember correctly. And it will look exactly the same thing. He's still a big fan of All Might. Like, come on now. Even though he's more confident, he's still inspired. The class would arrive on a new day, waiting for Ozawa to come in, but he never does. Instead, the door will slide open. "I am here. Coming through the door like a normal person." The class would share. All Might would explain the battle trials, how this is the time they're going to be acting like heroes. Pressing button, hero costume comes out. They all cheer again, even louder. Oh my god! Skipping to a little bus, I suppose, traveling to the city towards the battle trial area. Class would actually start to talk to each other, actually introducing themselves. Finally, Deku would actually start a conversation with Uraraka, and the two would hit it off. They would actually like compare each other's hero ideals. How she's like wanting to become a hero for the money, even though it's not like she wants all the money. She just want to take care of her parents. But Deku is doing it to try to save people, and that's honorable. The class would arrive at ground beta, and the whole class would be complimenting each other outfits, except for Deku. And I'm not gonna lie, his first outfit was kind of lame. After they get settled in, All Might will explain the battle trials, how there's gonna be 2 people on each team, and to be separated between heroes and villains. Starting with the villains, they would have to protect a bomb that's inside of a building. But the heroes will have to deactivate the bomb. And the first team is Deku and Uraraka. Come on, man. Lock in. And the villains are Ida and Bakio. Yep. Deku with face palm and Uraraka kind of get excited. He's like, yeah, let's destroy these villains. Deku is like, just like, oh my god. Anyone else, please, bro. I'm sick of this guy. Bakugo would revisit his memories of All Might in him during his training months. Looking back how much he developed. All Might teaching Bakugo, hold back your emotions, don't be too aggressive, especially against the people you save, because they can, they're at their worst time of their lives when you save them, and having a smile on your face. But there's a sudden feeling pumping through his heart that like he wants to prove to Deku that he is stronger. It's still inside of him, and you feel it, even though he matured and developed so much within the time he spent with All Might. Next scene, Deku and Uraraka will be standing outside the building. Uraraka will start to describe her quirk. That is when Deku actually compliments the quirk, because he can actually do something with that, and it's actually a really good quirk. Then Uraraka would ask Deku if he's actually quirkless. And well, Deku would say, yeah, I am. I'm just really strong. Using his observation haki, he would immediately can tell where the bomb room is, so immediately Deku would tell Uraraka the plan, that he's going to target Bakugo, and Uraraka will go inside the bomb room. Tells Uraraka that he knows that Bakugo's going to target him instead of protecting the bomb, so you will have to handle Ida and touch the bomb. Once you feel a rumble throughout the building, I want you to use your quick against yourself, and float to the bomb as fast as you can before Ida gets to you. If he's still focused on you, I want you to use your quirk on the debris that will be there and use it against Ida. Use it as a distraction against him and touch that bomb. All we need right now is to win. Uraraka will respond with a nod, and Deku will say, if you hear any explosions, ignore it. He got Bakugo handled, no matter what. Alright, let's do this, said Uraraka. Ida will try to make a plan with Bakugo, but Bakugo would stand still, silent. Listen here, nerd. I'm gonna go after that quirkless Deku. That cannot be the plan. We need a calculating plan immediately. We cannot lose. We need to win. We need to restrain them heroes. Well, too bad. Bakugo would explode through the hallways, leaving Ida to defend the bomb himself. Begin! Immediately, Midoriya and Uraraka would run into the building. Meanwhile, in a spectator room, the rest of the class will be there spectating the fights. The class will debate amongst each other on who's gonna win, Bakugo's team or Deku's team. Kaminari would say, well, Deku's quirkless. How is he going to fight against explosions from Bakugo? Like, it doesn't make no sense. He's still human. He's still going to get hurt from explosions, right? While Kirishima will speak out, saying, well, Midoriya is so strong. He could probably outpower Bakugo and might even land a lucky punch, and that could be a knockout. Back to the heroes team, running through the hallways. Explosions will echo out throughout the hallway. Midoriya, using his observation haki, knows Bakugo is coming right now. Suddenly, turning the corner, Bakugo would explode out. Deku, I'm gonna win this time! Bakugo, creating explosion right behind his body, propelling himself forward towards Deku and Uraraka. Deku would activate Armament Haki around his arms. Bakugo falling towards Deku. He would create another explosion towards the ground, creating a smoke screen, but all that was a distraction. Bakugo would use that explosion to propel himself over Deku and landing in between Uraraka and Deku. Upon landing, Bakugo would create an explosion in each hand, towards Uraraka and towards Deku's back. Deku, stumbling forward, immediately realizing Bakugo's strength. He had increased his explosion power significantly, destroying his entire back of Deku's hero costume and creating burned all over Deku's back. Uraraka will crash into the ground, burned all over her upper body. Seems like you can't protect her, Deku. Deku, using his observation haki, turning around towards Bakugo. In his mind, he's realizing that Bakugo mobility has increased. He doesn't think he can outspeed him while he's using his explosions. Why attack her? Why your target is me, huh? Kachan, don't call me that! Immediately, Bakugo would throw a left hook, creating an explosion right against Deku's head. Deku's body was slammed against the wall. Bakugo would create another explosion, bursting Deku's body through the wall. He went through it and landing in a pile of rubble. Uraraka would stand up from Bakugo's attack, quickly running past him towards the bomb room. Bakugo's attention would turn to Uraraka, running down the hallway. At that moment, Deku would punch Bakugo right in the face, sending him crashing through another wall. Bakugo laying on the rubble would think, Deku has got stronger, just like me. Bakio, using an explosion while he's laying down, propelling himself upright, using another explosion against Deku's body. Deku, prepared for this counter, would immediately cover his whole entire arms and armament and block the explosion head on. Using his observation haki, he would see Bakio. Using his left hand, Deku would reach out, grabbing Bakio's face. Using his right fist, would punch straight into Bakio's stomach, knocking the wind right out of him. Bakio will lean forward, gasping now with all the wind being knocked out of him. To the bomb room, Uraraka would arrive at the doorway, staring at Ida. "Aha, hero, you're here." Uraraka would respond with a laugh. "I've done research with your quirk, and I've cleaned every single thing you can use against me. And with this bomb, I can blow up the entire city." Uraraka would stop laughing and immediately sprinting forward, loading herself up, leaping towards the bomb. But Ida would intervene, grabbing the bomb and using his quirk, dashing off away from her. Uraraka would be very surprised about Ida's quirk, and she would tumble onto the ground, rolling against the wall, quickly standing up. "With my quirk, this bomb is practically untouchable. I can just wait until the time runs out until this bomb explodes." Vibrations would fill the room, shaking, the entire building shaking with each and every explosion for Bakio's quirk. Switch scenes to that fight. "You do have enough, Deku." Deku lay on the ground with obviously burns around his body with a smirk. Quickly, Deku would leap up, uppercutting Bakio's face, sending him crashing against the ceiling, falling back right into the ground. Deku, using his observation haki, would stare into Bakio's gauntlets, his eyes widening, realizing all that sweat is going straight into his gauntlets. "I have to get into position." Deku would punch into the wall, creating a giant entry into another room, leaving Bakio's sight. Bakio would stand up, yelling out, "Where are you?" and looking around before the wall beside him would start to crumble open with a pair of feet slamming him through another wall into a separate room on the other side of the building. Deku would land in the middle of the hallway, looking through the entry of the hole that Bakio went through. Bakio would slowly stand up with his body trembling and his hair mixed with blood. Bakio lifting up his right arm towards Deku, his left index finger wrapping around the pin. "You know what these gauntlets for, Deku? It's not for show, let me tell you that. It's been building the sweat up. My sweat is like nitroglycerins. So all that buildup in my gauntlets is all of that nitroglycerins. Can you survive, Deku?" "Of course I can. Use everything you got." Bakio would prepare to use an explosion, but All Might in his earpiece would keep telling him, "Don't do that. You'll hurt him. You'll possibly kill him." Bakio, he didn't care. All he heard was his heartbeat, then his breathing, then the pin would be pulled. Bakio would use One for All for the first time against Deku. Combining with the build-up sweat he had in his gauntlets, the initial explosion would immediately destroy the gauntlets, breaking Bakio's right arm, burning away all clothes from his upper body, leaving it extremely burned. A bright light would fill up the hallway, then soon a loud explosion would erupt, destroying half the building and 2 other buildings in front of it. All Might in the spectator room would immediately dash away towards the building. Bakio standing in the middle of the hallway with the open sunlight shining down on him, looking shocked. He has officially gone overboard. Bakio staring into nowhere with someone look up, seeing the bomb being floated in the air with Uraraka attached to it. "So that was your entire plan, Deku. You outsmarted me. You forced me to use my most powerful attack just to win. You baited me." All Might would arrive, quickly searching through the field of debris, looking for any signs of Deku. After 30 seconds, he would find Deku, barely hanging on to life, with burns covering his entire upper body. Meanwhile, in the spectator room, the entire class will be silent. Time skip to the next day. Deku will wake up in the nurse's office, with most of his burns healed up by the nurse. Deku's right arm would be broken, with some of his ribs being cracked. Deku thinking to himself that he actually survived. He didn't expect that kind of impact from Bakio. Realizing without his Armament Haki, he would have been dead. Most of his arms took the impact, which was covered in Armament Haki. He needs to find a way to add more Haki to his body so he can take more impacts. If he can't react to an attack faster, he might actually die to like a very, very strong attack from a villain or something. So Deku needs to find a way to protect his entire body during battle. From the door, a knock would be heard. The door sliding open, it would reveal All Might, slowly walking in, stopping right next to Deku's hospital bed. Before Deku can say anything, All Might will just non-stop apologize to Deku. Just immediately. Telling Deku that he should have stopped the match immediately the moment things escalated to that level. But Deku would just cut All Might off, saying, "Is the others okay?" Meaning Ida, Uraraka, and Bakugo. Even though he hates Bakugo, he doesn't want to, have him permanently, hurt, He doesn't want to have, permanent burns on him or something like that. All Might would just smile and say, "Yeah, they're okay. Bakugo had to get treated, too, but that was self-inflicted. But Uraraka did touch the bomb, so your team won." Deku standing up from the hospital bed, attempting to stand up, stumbling forward with All Might catching him. "I want to talk to Bakugo, one-on-one." All Might would nod, but would tell Deku, "Don't try to fight him." Deku would just stare at him and say, "I don't want to. I just want to talk to him." Deku starting to stumble out the room. After 10 minutes of stumbling throughout the hallways, Deku would finally find Bakugo using his observation haki to track him down. Deku would stand behind Bakugo, calling out his name. Before Deku would speak, Bakugo would cut him off. Bakugo would actually start to apologize to Deku. Deku would be silent. Using his observation haki, he can tell that Bakugo is being serious right now. He's actually apologizing, and he's actually doing it from his heart. Bakugo would tell his regrets of using that big of an attack against Deku, that he would have never lived with himself if he actually killed him. Continuing with Bakugo telling Deku that he actually woke him up when he knocked him out in the school classroom. Without that wake-up call, Bakugo would still probably be the same person, and he thanked Deku for that. Then Bakugo would say that he has a mentor. Not saying who it is, but he's saying he has a mentor that really changed him, that really helped him going through his anger and his aggression, finishing his speech with an apology to everything he'd done against Deku. They're telling Deku that this might be the last time he will ever see him because he might get expelled. Deku would just stare on, just saying to Bakugo that you actually apologized for once in your life. You actually did it. I never would have imagined this moment, but whoever is your mentor is, I gotta give him props. He actually just did a 180 against you, I guess. Then Deku will continue his response to saying that since his childhood, he always wanted to be Bakugo's friend, up until he bullied his first kid. And what he witnessed pushed him into being a hero no matter what, even if he's quirkless. So if you're really sorry, then do better. Actually help people instead of getting angry at them, telling them to die. Bakugo would nod at Deku's response. Then the two would just awkwardly just stare at each other, just saying, "Alright, that's enough." And then the two would just walk away. Seeming like Deku, in his feelings right now, you would probably accept it. Even though the harsh punishments he went through, he still wants to be friends, even at the end of the day, to save more people. So that's where I'm going to leave off the video. This is my first ever video, so the editing is going to be trash. This is my first time editing a video, so I'm just trying to do something unique compared to the other What If videos. So bear with me. I have many more What If ideas, like what if Deku became the War Devil, which if you read Chainsaw Man, you know that would be a crazy what if. I want to do something a little bit more different compared to other what if channels and actually involve the rest of Class 1A, because most of them, they just only focus on Todoroki, Bakugo, or Araka maybe. But with this one, I want to focus on everyone, at least in this first episode or part 1, whatever. It'd be more towards Bakugo and Deku. But for the rest of it, I do want to involve more characters and actually have them affected by this what if. So if you liked the video, just hit the thumbs up, I guess. Subscribe, maybe. I don't know. I've never done this type of outro before. First time doing it. It's kind of awkward. I guess have a good day. See ya.